followed by the pledge to the Texas flag by Trustee Beebe.
Would you bow with me, please? Heavenly Father, we come before you again today, asking you for your guidance as we discuss the items on this agenda. That our actions, the way we communicate, and the way we address the issues are pleasing to you. Let us always be reminded that whatever we do, others that may not know you are looking to us as an example. So keep us focused first on you and then on the items and the things that must be accomplished. Father, we thank you for this opportunity to have input into the leadership of this great institution. We ask that you continue to bless them, every family represented here, and every staff member, everyone, that's every student that seeks an education on this campus. Be with all of us and remind us of our responsibilities as Christians. We love you, Lord, and most importantly, you love us. These blessings we ask and receive in your Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. We have a quorum present, and this meeting is being recorded, and members of the public may access this meeting through the Central Texas College website. First item on our agenda is consider the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees held on December the 14th, 2021. Copy of that, which is in your package. Any discussion or questions on the minutes?
Move that they approved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is a chairman's update, an opportunity for members of the public to suggest the addition of topics for discussion or to address topics of interest with a presentation limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone present like to address the board? Seeing none, then we'll move on to item number 4 on our agenda, and that's the Chancellor's report. Mr.
Thank you,
Anopoulos?
sir. Have some pictures. Who's up first? Dr. Ady.
Good afternoon. Let's see, first picture, you see we had 2 graduation ceremonies in nursing graduation ceremonies in December. So we had a VN and we had an ADN graduation. So on 34 VN graduates graduated, and you see a picture of the VN ones on the left bottom. We also had 33 ADN graduates, and so you see the faculty pinning our students. On the right-hand side, you see the students, they are lighting their candles, which symbolizes the Nightingale Pledge. So our students did a great job, and new nursing cohort starting. Let's see, oh, hang on. All right. We also had, so we had a lot of ceremonies in December. This one here is our Ford Technician of Tomorrow program, which is our career skills programs that we teach in partnership with Fort Hood, Ford, and the workforce. And so we had 11 graduates. You see them on the left-hand side. They are wearing the Technician of Tomorrow's shirts. And you see them with the toolkit. Those are toolkits that the workforce provided to the graduating students of the program. And on the right-hand side, you see a picture of Jonathan Cuff. He works for Ford. He is the Parts and Service Operations Manager of the Dallas Region Ford Motor Company, and he has been very instrumental in ensuring that our program is so successful. And we have another cohort that just started earlier this month. Okay, and last picture for me is the Fine Arts Student Award. We have two students, two drama majors, Paola Rivera and Fallon Engelkins Kelly. They were selected as the Irene Ryan acting nominees to represent the CTC Fine Arts Department drama program at the Kennedy Center it's called Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival, which will be held virtually in February 24th through the 27th. And the students were selected. They were part of the play Love and Loss. That was one of the plays that we did in the fall, and remember we showed you some pictures. And so they will be competing against other 2- and also 4-year students. I don't know what happens, Dr. Garrett.
While we're switching presenters, on the fine arts, we're going to have a number of fine arts presentations going on throughout the year. You'll be getting invitations. Dr. Adie and Dean Fisher and their staff have provided those to us for approval, so we're getting those out. On the Ford initiative, I wanted to let you know that we are now going to be able to put civilian students into that program, so that will help from around the area. And we're trying to get them sponsored if we can by the Ford dealership before they come here, so. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Chancellor.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna be able to put civilians in that program now?
Right.
Now, is there an minimum age, or is it like right out of high school they can go through it?
Yeah, we can get the information to you.
'Cause that's a really good deal.
Right. Yeah. Dr.
Great.
Garrett?
Good afternoon. This is the picture of our fall graduation. If you remember, in December, on December 10th, we had our fall graduation at the Colleen Conference and Civic Center, and we had 150 graduate walk that day. Overall, though, we had 705 CTC students graduate in December worldwide. So that's an amazing number. We work very diligently in student services to graduate students when we see that their credits amount to a degree or they can get a degree. We do an automatic graduation for them. So you'll see our numbers have increased over the past few years. These pictures, you'll see that on the, I guess, upper left, those graduates, if you notice, they've got the little alumni pin. They were issued that alumni pin before they walked when they were in the little gathering room. And then some have the cords that indicate that they're a veteran. Down at the bottom of the left, those are students after they moved their tassel, some of the students. And the other picture, I believe, let's see, I think we had a commissioner. That wasn't the commissioner speaking there. Can you see who that was?
Dr. Henry.
Ah, Renee. Yes, Renee Henry was speaking there. But we did have, she was our faculty representative. Thank you. But we did have a commissioner of the Texas Workforce Commission, Commissioner Aaron Demerson, speaking as the commencement address. And he was very, very intriguing, and the students were the former students were very interested in what he had to say. It was great. But that was that picture. And now the Welcome Back Bash. We do this, we do a Welcome Back Bash in the spring, and we do a Welcome Bash in the fall. But this spring we did on January 20th, we did it in the Anderson Campus Center. We did it inside, and we had 100 students participate. And the theme of this was a Pirates theme, but the slogan was Yo Ho Ho and a Semester of Success. The students interacted with faculty and staff, and they received prizes and got all kinds of information and had a great time playing games and enjoying some snacks that we provided. And then this is our new student orientation. We did it virtual again. We're finding that it's very effective virtually. When we bring the students here for new student orientation and they kind of sit around, everybody sits there and they're afraid to say anything. We spent 2.5 hours answering student questions at the new student orientation, and we had, I think, 95 students participating virtually in this. We hopefully we'll do one face-to-face soon, but I think we are always going to continue to do a Q&A session moving forward, because it was question after question, and these are questions that they could have gotten answers to on the web or calling somebody, but it was so effective with them coming, just asking them either in the chat or vocally, and we had the right people in the room, and they were able to pipe up and explain whatever the need was and take care of them right away. So a new thing we're going to implement, Q&A sessions. Thank you.
I'd like to mention one thing on the graduates, and you all will get invitations to the graduations, whether it's nursing, police academy, the regular graduation exercise. We really would like you to come. Number one, it's for the students, it benefits them. But the second thing about these graduations, there's a formula advisory committee that meets every I'm on the committee for 2 years at a time with the coordinating board. And the metrics are moving more toward rewarding institutions for those completions. So it's a kind of a double-edged sword. We get the more success points we get, the more funding we get. So we work hard to get these students through to complete a certificate or a degree. So just for your knowledge. And that's all, sir.
Thank you, sir. Our next item is discuss and consider approval of the November 2021 and December 2021 interim financial statements and investment reports. Mr. Liberty.
Hopefully you all have a copy of those two reports. I don't have a lot of stuff I want to discuss on the November report, but I just want to show you a few things just to show you the trend, where we're going, and what we need to be concerned with. If you look at the November report, you look at 3 lines from the bottom up, it shows you the current year increase. And in November, the current year increase through November was $230,000 increase compared to $1.4 million from the previous year. Significantly less than where we were a year ago this time. Saying that, I wanted you to see that because when you bounce into December, you can see that we're at about the same position. The difference between December of 20 and December of 21 is about $1.6 million less. Now, I will remind you all that in December, we did pay a $1 million performance bonus that was based upon the fiscal year that we had in 21, which was the most positive fiscal year financially that the college ever had. So the bonus was warranted. However, when you pay it, you pay for it the next year, and that's what we're doing now. So when you look at those numbers, you see that our bottom line is down $1.3 million compared to up $300,000 from the year before. You take that $1 million bonus out of there, there's still a $600,000 delta, and we're still in the negative, but we're not as bad. And once again, it's all related to what we've been talking about for a year and a half, because we continue to watch our expenditures, and our expenditures aren't going up, but our tuition revenue is continuing to decline. If you compare December of through December of 20 compared to December of 2021, it was a 15% decrease in the tuition from one year to the next. And our spring enrollments, which aren't quite final, but they're pretty darn close, they're about 7% down. 7% is a whole lot better than 15, so there's an improvement there. Fall semester, though, traditionally is a little bit bigger than the spring semester, so it won't completely make up for, as we're working our way up. But these are numbers that we're going to have to continue to watch and monitor. I know the Chancellor and the rest of the leadership group have discussed the numbers and where we're going and things that we need to do, as well as expenditures that we need to, as we always have been out here at the college. Very critical on evaluating all expenditures before we approve them, and we will continue to do that. And hopefully it won't lead to any mandatory crackdowns that the Chancellor has to make, and hopefully we can govern ourselves. But if we need to, the Chancellor will definitely do that, and we'll go that route. And I can answer any questions if anybody has any.
Yes.
Previously, I mentioned that one of the topics to be discussed was to take a look at courses that we've begun, or maybe I should say certificates or degrees that are not going well, that we need to review. And that was back in October, November, I mentioned that. Has that begun to happen, or?
I think it has, but I'm not really the person to answer that. That
Okay.
would probably be more Dr. Ady and
Okay.
Dr. Fisher to discuss that, but I have heard through some conversations and one I had with the Chancellor that I know they have looked at some of those programs and thought about some certificates that may not be progressing well and may not flow in the chain like they used to years ago. And it may be some, so I know that there has been some looking, but any great detail, I can't provide, ma'am.
I would just continue to like, to have feedback about that. I'd like
We can
that.
do that. The, it's a requirement of SACS and the coordinating board that we look at those programs annually, and if programs are slipping like that, it's a requirement that we scuttle those. There's some issues there where we have to provide a program of study, a continuation for the students that are in that program. But we do look at that. Dr. Garrett's involved in that from her side, and she questions those and hits Dr. Ady up, hey, what's going on with this program? So we do that daily. Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions of Mr. Liberty?
If we could, Bob, if we continue on the same track, or you project to be close in August?
Better than $1 million red, bottom line, better than $1 million negative. You know, we are to the point, sir, and it was something I shared several months ago. You know, we've cut as many times as we can, and we're almost to the point. I'll use an expression that Ted shared several months ago in a meeting I was in. He said, we're past the point of cutting anything that doesn't really matter, and we're down to the point to where when we cut, we're going to be cutting bone. So, you know, we're almost to that point where there's not a lot of cutting that can be done without doing a disservice to our services, which we do not want to do. So unless there's a major turnaround in enrollments, it's going to be $1 million or more, sir. And unfortunately, everything that you read and everything that you see on a nationwide scale, it appears that community colleges everywhere are in the same boat we are, where enrollments are just continuing to decline, and students that have any motivation at all have decided they'd rather work than go to school, the ones that want to work at all. I mean, I guess that's just the way to put it. So I don't think the horizon for the current year looks that favorable.
As a matter of information, while y'all were enjoying lunch, I was on a Zoom meeting with the College Trustees Association, large college chairs, and 9 people were there, and everybody had about the same story, that enrollments are down. And the general discussion went to the point of, well, we need to get more money from the state. Well, folks, that ain't going to happen. So what we have to do is we have to tap the local resources the best we can. The early college high school is probably the best example of where we're moving forward, and we need to get together, I think, more closely. I know that Dr. Garrett goes out to the high schools and talks to them about enrolling, about going to college, about getting a certificate, about being a plumber or an electrician or whatever. I know that's happening. But I think we need to redouble our efforts in that area, because everybody's having the same problem across the state of Texas.
The
Not
one
just us.
advantage we have over some of them, we're very fortunate that we have been very frugal fiscally over the last 15 to 20 years, and we do have a large reserve. You know, some of them are at the point to where they may not be viable at some time, which makes it very difficult to stay accredited and to do different things that you need to do. We are in good shape, at least financially, to survive a downward turn, but we can't just rest our laurels on that. We have to figure out how to stem the tide, sir.
Agree. Any other questions, Mr. Liberty? I'll consider a motion. Motion been made, and I hear a second. Motion been made and second to approve the December and November 2021 interim financial statements. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Next item is the discuss and consider approval of a contract for Smith Pump Company in an amount not to exceed $83,810 for the replacement of the lift station pumps and control panels. Mr. Harmson?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. As we discussed at the board workshop, the lift stations number 1 and number 3, the number 1 is the largest lift station that we have, which is down along Bell Tower Drive, is in need of some repair. Pumps, control panels, all are aged and beginning to cause us some problems. The college would be looking at an approximate cost of $127,000, which would include some new pumps and panels, a generator, a concrete pad, and then I did put a little bit of contingency in there in case there's something unforeseen that would come up. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Like I said, we talked about this a little bit at the board workshop, but otherwise the administration recommends that a contract be awarded to Smith Pump Company not to exceed $83,810 for the replacement of the pumps, panels, et cetera.
What does
Questions?
the generator run on?
The generator would be tied into our pump house, so we were going to go ahead and kind of get a twofer for that. It would be yeah, that's. We would operate it much like the other generator off of diesel. Yeah. It would be tied into, we'd have it tied into the electrical as well. Was there another question?
Okay.
Any other questions of Mr. Harmson?
Move we approve the request. Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the contract for Smith Plumbing in the amount of $83,810. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Motion carries. Next item is discuss and consider approval of the construction manager at risk delivery method for the construction of multiple capital projects, building renovations, including the nursing center, Foreman Ranch, protective services, Oviedo Cup Hobby Library, Science Center, and Merit Student Housing, 4 units for the CTC business, as outlined in the revised facilities master plan approved by the board on January the 26th, 2021. Mr. Harmson?
Yeah, so Texas law identifies that there are 6 methods for procuring a construction services project. The Board of Trustees must approve one if it's other than a competitive bidding contract. In this particular case, as we discussed at the board workshop, the opportunity for us to provide additional value engineering at the start of the project to make sure that we can try to meet the budget would certainly benefit us, and the methodology that would be best used is the construction manager at risk delivery method. So I've given a little bit of information. I actually pulled it from the state statute, all of the 6 types of procurement methods, gave a little bit of an assessment. So with that, the recommendation is to approve the construction manager at risk delivery method.
Any questions of Mr. Harmson? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Our next item is to discuss and consider approval of the PBK Architects Incorporated to provide architectural engineering services for multiple capital projects and building renovations, including the Nursing Center, Foreman Ranch, Protective Services, Olivia Cup Hobby Library, Science Center, Merit Student Housing, 4 units for CTC business use as outlined in the facilities revised master plan approved by the board on January 26, 2021. And a 6.5% of the final construction costs currently estimated at $255,970. Mr. Harmson.
Yeah, so at the board workshop, we talked about the original capital project, and so I've listed those 6 items there. We were discussing making some changes, which I had put down the changes directly below that. The one thing I wanted to go ahead and clarify, because I know we had a little bit of discussion at the board workshop, was related to married student housing. The focus of our attention with this particular project will just be the 4 units that we'd be using for CTC business operations. The total cost between this fiscal year and next fiscal year is a little bit over $3.9 million, which was the basis for the estimated cost for PBK for the architectural engineering services. So with that, the administration recommends approval of PBK for the architectural engineering services for this scope of work.
Just to reiterate, could you name specifically which 4 buildings are going to be renovated for what particular services?
Correct.
The married student housing buildings, there's 4 are going to be renovated. Would you outline what those will be used for?
Yes, sir. We were looking at the foundation, 4 records, the police department, and then a welcome center.
Okay. So we're only talking about those 4 units.
Correct.
Any questions of Mr. Harmson? Then I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the request. Any further discussion on the motion? And all in favor, say aye. Motion carries. Next item is recommending the topics for upcoming agenda items or announcements by the board members. Start with Ms. Coley.
I don't have any.
I'd like to see the drawings next workshop and what they propose for those 4 units. I understand we actually have them developed a year or so ago.
Okay, understood.
I don't have anything to add except to remind the board that we've been notified of Jim Lindley's death, and he served this institution for many years as attorney. Pray for his family, and as soon as we have more information about time and date of burial, we'll get that announced out.
Announcement of time and location of the board workshop scheduled for Tuesday, February the 15th, 2022. And it says 11 a.m. Please scratch that out and put 1 p.m. And the board meeting scheduled for Tuesday, February the 22nd, 2022 at 1 p.m. If there's no other information relative to our meeting, then we stand adjourned.